So now that we have some images in the database, let's go ahead and show them using an accordion. And I'm going to start by adding an image list to my uploader HTML. So it's just going to be an empty div tag for now. And then I'm going to create an image UI class. So image UI.js. And it's going to have an init function. And just to start out, all I'm going to have it do is when it starts up, it's going to set image list to that div that I just created. And in the init method, it's going to turn that thing into an accordion. And that's all it's going to do for now. And then I'm also going to have a method called fetchImages. So this.fetchImages is going to execute a jQuery AJAX call, and it's going to get this thing right here, listimages.php. So if I call this images/listimages.php, it returns an array of JSON objects with name property and image ID property. So that's listimages.php. And then on success, let's display images data. Now, the way an accordion works is basically you have pairs of data. So the first thing is a header, second thing is content, third thing is a header, fourth thing is content, fifth thing is a header, sixth thing is content, and so on. So basically I'm going to create two divs for each element in this data array. And the first div is going to be the name of the image, and then the second div will be the image tag itself. So first div is image list.append, and actually this wants to be in for each, so hold on, data.forEach function image, and then this is going to be the image.name. So that's the header of the accordion, and then image list.append image source equal, and then this is going to be fetch image.php question ID equal plus image.image ID plus, and then close off my source tag and close that off. Like so. And I actually want to put this in a div as well. I'll make my scaling a little nicer later on. And I think I missed a paren up here. Yeah. There we go. So let's go ahead and see what we get. Now, in order to use this, I have to create a new image UI object. And I want to do the init somewhere too. So let's call init. And then I need to call the fetch images method. So in my uploader.js, that should be it. Let's go ahead and see what we have. So I have to load that. Okay, now I have an error here. Image UI is not defined. Let me make sure I reloaded. So I have a syntax error here. So this dot fetch images equal function. There we go. So this is showing everything, and after I've loaded the images, I need to re-accordionize my image list. So let's try it now. There we go. So we have accordions, and if I click on one of these, it shows me the image. So we're going to have to do a few things to make this look nice. First of all, I want to use the height just big enough to fit the image. And then I want to support collapsing these as well. And then I also want to handle positioning this so that it scrolls to whichever one's open. So right now the height by default is uniform height for all of these. So basically they're as tall as the tallest one. So let me give some settings. So the first one, collapsible, is true, and that will let me close these as well as open them. And then active is false, and this means that the accordion is going to start out with all of the tabs closed. And then height style is content, and that means that it's going to make each one just high enough to contain its image. And then I'm going to have to handle the animation as well, but let's come back to that because it's more complicated. So reload. So there's all of my tabs, and now if I open one, it's just big enough to hold the item. So that's closer to what I want. And I can close them. So now let's worry about the animation and the scrolling. So the first thing I'm going to do is set the speed of that animation. So I'm going to make the expansion and contraction be 100 milliseconds, so that's about half as fast as usual. And then I'm going to add an activate method. So this is going to be run after the tab is opened. And it's going to take an event and a UI. And then, so first I want to find the header, and it's either going to be UI.newHeader or UI.oldHeader, depending on whether it's expanding or collapsing. And then if header not equal undefined, then I want to animate scroll top to header.offset.top. So that's going to scroll the top of the body to the top of the header. And then let's give that a time of 200 milliseconds. So that should scroll down to whatever gets open. So it opens it and then it scrolls up to it. And then it's looking pretty good. Oh, that one didn't work. And I also need to check that the header length is greater than 0. So that I don't get an error in here. See, if I didn't get a header, then header.offset is going to return an error. You can actually see that. So it cannot read property top of undefined on that line right there. So now that I fixed that, let's see if I get the right effect. Great. So that's all working now. Got a little problem with that image. So there's another issue here, which is what's the network tab? And I'm going to hit reload. And you'll notice that it's fetching all of these images. So even though they're not visible, all of these images get fetched whenever the page is loaded, whether I look at them or not. And so this slows down the load and is also going to be painful on a machine that doesn't have a fast network connection. So what I want to do instead is, instead of setting the image source in here, I want to just remember the ID. And then inside of this accordion, when I expand one of these tabs, then I want to load the image. So in 2 steps. So first, instead of setting the source equal to that, I'm going to put a piece of data on it. And you can use data dash and then whatever name you want to add your own tags to existing HTML tags. This is a standard thing. So I'm going to say data dash ID is equal to this image ID. So now none of the pictures are going to have images on them. Let's go ahead and reload. And now if you look through the network tab, there are no image fetches. But if I open one of these things, there's no image there, right? It's because the image tag inside of here just has a data ID on it. So what I want to do is, before activate, I'm going to run another function, and it's going to get an event and a UI. And this UI, it's going to have new panel set, and that's the panel that's opening right now. And I want to find inside there my image tag. And I'm going to store that in here. And then image.set, image.adder source is going to be equal to plus image.data ID. So that's how you fetch values that were set using data-attribute. You can just say image.data. So right before I open this thing, it's going to go ahead and set the image on it and start loading it. So there's my image. And if you look at the network tab again, you'll see I don't have any loads until here. And then if I click, I get another fetch. And another fetch, and another fetch. So it's only fetching them as I view them, which is pretty efficient. And it also should scale them. So I have a style for that. So class equal scaled image. Is it scaled image or scaled img? Scaled under img. Great. So the other thing we want to do is I've just uploaded a new image, but it hasn't gotten added to here yet. So close. The first one is poly.png. If I hit reload, there's a new one here. So basically what I want to do is I want to trigger the reload of this by calling fetch again whenever new images are displayed. So in order to do that, the progress dialog is going to need to tell the image UI to update. So I'm going to have to pass the image UI in, and in my uploader, I actually want to put this right at the top. So the first thing it's going to do is start loading the image list. And then I'm going to pass the image UI into progress dialog. And then the easiest thing to do here is when the user closes the progress dialog, to go ahead and update the image list there. So let's do that. So close progress.button.click image UI dot fetch images. So now let's go ahead and drag some of these in, and I'll upload all of those. And then watch this when I close it. Nothing. So let's go ahead and put a breakpoint on that line. So I'm going to put a breakpoint there. Oh, I know what it was. It actually did work. I just got this copied twice. So it basically, I need to clear out the old ones before adding the new ones in again. So let's go back to our image UI. And before I add stuff to the accordion, I want to clear the accordion out. So image list.empty, and then set the new ones. So here's the list, and let's go ahead and add these two to the top. Upload, close, and here they pop right to the top.